career, what makes you unbreakable?
Of course, I'm not unbreakable. I'm a human being, even though sometimes I pretend to be unbreakable or too mean to die or a humanoid, but we all know we're not. I mean, we're just human beings. And I guess we're just having fun with what we do. And like I said earlier, I'm super honored to be here and to have all this interest in our music still. And I'm quite aware what a privilege it is to be able to do what we do and to have fans that are interested in what we do. I consider myself very lucky. Yeah, and I'm not unbreakable. I wish I was, but I'm not.
You worked again with Andy Sneap
Yeah.
on this album. What did you do to improve compared to Tumin today?
I mean, with every album, we try to do the best we can, and so the same with this. I mean, every time we sit down and create a song and we work on a song, in the back of everybody's mind, there is it's always this thought of, this could be the best we've ever done, and hopefully it will be, but will it be? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see what the fans actually think, but that's what's thrilling to me, is like, I go into the studio or into the songwriting phase every time with a mindset of, let me try to do the best I can on this album. And stylistically, we're always quite mindful of the legacy and the history of Accept. So we want songs to sound like typical Accept, very familiar. We want them to sound like they could have been written 10 years, 20 years ago. They're basically timeless. But at the same time, we want them to be as best as ever. And there's always this wish or this hope, or the strive for, this could be the best one ever. So that's basically the mindset we have when we make songs. We're not really trying to recreate the wheel, because we know who we are, we know what we've done. There's no need to change our style because it's working. We're just trying to get better and more on target with every song.
And how was the writing process for Humanoid? Did you change something because we have this digital revolution that everyone is talking about?
No, we didn't really change much in the songwriting phase at all. I mean, and to be honest, even when I look back at stuff we've done all these years ago in the late 70s or early 80s, songwriting is still pretty much the same process as it was back then. Yes, we have different technology now. We can record it onto computers instead of like tape machines, but that's the only difference, really. It's all about having the right idea and writing the perfect song. And whether you use that tool or that tool doesn't matter. It's almost like when you imagine somebody writing a book. Maybe 200 years ago they used to write by hand, then the typewriter came along, the manual one, then the electric one, and then the computer. But still, at the end of the day, it's about the story that you write. It's about the content. And it's the same with music. Tools only, they can't change the content. A shit song is a shit song. No matter what. Or the other way around, a hit will be a hit.
Talking about songs, riffs, 17 albums in around 40 years of career, you are well known for your killer riffs. What keeps you inspired as a musician? And maybe how do you find always a nice way to create not an almighty, but very footprint riff in the metal field?
Riff writing is relatively easy for me. I mean, I can sit down any day, any time of the day, and just come up with a riff that's okay, probably. I mean, obviously, you're trying to go for the best one ever. But riffs are always kind of easy for me, always have been. But then you have to understand a riff is just a small building block of a song, It's just the starting point, maybe, or something. But then you still need a vocal idea, you need all these other, chorus and a hook line, and basically what always helps me a lot, if you have an idea of where this song, what the what the story of the song is, what the theme is. What are we really trying to tell? Is it a happy story? Is it something sad? Is it super aggressive? Is it something that's really serious? Or is it a drinking, like for instance, Straight Up Jack is a drinking song. It's just about, it's a lyric that Mark Tonillo wrote. So it gives you a certain starting point, and that always helps. But you have to understand a riff is just a riff. To me, it's just almost like easy.
All right, I still have a question on the riff. Amongst all your production, is there a specific riff you are very proud of?
Probably the intro to Balls to the Wall, because it's so well known and people really said, oh, it's a killer riff. And when I heard that, and interestingly enough, that riff only happens once in the whole song at the very beginning and never again. Usually we sort of repeat it later on and it becomes, but it's really only a brief moment in the beginning, but yet it's very almost famous, strangely enough.
Talking about Humanoid, so the common thread of the album, of the lyrics and the stories seems to be humanity in all kind of sort, let's say, even bionic. How comes this idea to you? Was it from the beginning, this idea to talk about this theme, or?
No, these things sort of happen along the way. When you start writing songs, I'm not really ever focused on the finished product or the overall album. I'm just trying to write a good song, and then I'm trying to write another good song, and then another one, and whatever happens, happens. And at the end of the day, after a while, we have 10, 12, however many songs, and that is the album. And then you discover later on, oh, there's a certain overlap there. Like in this case, it's Humanoid and Frankenstein have a overlapping theme, if you want, but that wasn't by intention. It's just pure accidental. And we only picked Humanoid as the album cover and the title track because it seems to be the most current for our times that we live in, because with all the artificial intelligence that's going on right now, and also because we had a good visual idea. When you hear when you hear the word humanoid, you immediately have a picture in your mind, and that obviously is very helpful because you need an album cover. When you hear a song like South Side of Hell, I don't have really a picture in mind, but with Humanoid I do. That's why we took it as a title track. But it's not an album theme, or it's not it's not supposed to be a concept album or anything.
Okay.
I have a question on Humanoid.
Please.
On this.
I like the way you guys say it, humanoid.
Humanoid.
Humanoid. Humanoid. It's
Humanoid.
funny. Humanoid.
Dystopia, technology impact, amongst other topics, are a huge source of inspiration for a lot of artists. I'm thinking, for instance, of Blaze Bayley, for instance, who really work and highlight these things. How did you come up with this approach on dystopia, technology impact?
I don't know, man. It was just one of many words I had written down on a list of possible album titles. I usually do that in the songwriting phase. When I hear something I find like, oh, that sounds cool, let me write that down, because one day I'm going to be sitting there in the studio and not knowing what to write about, and I have a riff, and I say to myself, what could fit my riff? What's the vibe? And then you have these keywords, and one of those was humanoid. And then the more you think about it, then you start to realize, okay, this is something that's very up to date right now. And it's also a continuation of the song Metal Heart. That's why we have it on the album cover as a reference to the Metal Heart, because our humanoid has the same metallic heart. So it felt very much like an accept theme for us when we wrote it. And then visually, if you look at the song, at this film Metropolis, for instance, it already is like 100 years old, but it's very current because it's the theme man versus machine, and that's very up to date right now.
We talk about negative side of AI.
Yeah.
Is there any good side of AI that come to your mind?
Yeah, I'm sure it's going to be. I mean, I wouldn't go out and say it's all good or it's all bad. It's always a mix of everything. I mean, modern technology in general, all the digital aspects of our daily life, there's some amazing aspects of it. I mean, think about, I'm traveling a lot, and no matter where I go, I have my little iPhone with me and it has GPS on it, and I can just type in, I don't know, Indian restaurant, and I'm going to find one 2 blocks down the street. I would never find that without it. I wouldn't even know where to go. I'm at the airport. I can communicate on the plane with other people. I can do all this is beautiful, I think. Of course, there's the negative sides of everything. And artificial intelligence sounds a little scary right now, but I'm quite hopeful that we will find a way to deal with it that enables us to take advantage of it without having all just being negative. I mean, there's always 2 sides to everything, I believe. Huh? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But I mean, the thought of artificial intelligence creating art, that is something that concerns me. I wouldn't say I'm afraid of it, but at the same time, being an artist, I'm thinking like, is it going to take all our jobs away one day? I'm quite hopeful it won't, because I still think only humans can really express emotions. I hope that artificial intelligence is not going to advance that much more that it can actually replace human people, human thoughts and emotions. But am I 100% sure? No. I don't really. I never thought it would be that good already, but it's amazing what it can do already. I mean, there's going to be visual art being created, music's going to be it's being created by it. Of course, there's the aspect of it that it's basically you're ripping off existing songs and existing artwork to create the new stuff. You know, when they create new Nirvana songs, they look at all the old songs and sort of use it as a reference. Will it ever be able to create original stuff? Maybe. I don't know. I hope not, but can I help it? No. Can I stop time? No. Technology marches on whether we want to or not. So it's an interesting time that we live in, I believe, and we yet have to find a way to deal with it. And I think any time that in history that there's new technology introduced, whether it's just something like the automobile, people were scared of it initially. They thought like it's going to be harmful to people to travel at that speed, you know, because they were just used to horses and buggies. And so the same is true with all this. Anytime something new comes along, people are always like oh God, it's going to destroy everything. But I don't think it will destroy everything. We have to just catch up and deal with it.
You will soon go to a big tour, a world tour. Have you already prepared the set list?
No. We have a rough idea, but it's not 100%. Nothing is ever 100% certain until we actually go out and do it. And then we still, every time, it's all the same every time. I make a list and I say, this is what we should rehearse, and we start rehearsing it, and it sounds great. We go on stage, and then we find out, actually, we should probably have done this, and then the stage always tells the truth, and you feel it immediately on stage, whether a song and a running order is working really well or whether you could make improvements.
Mm-hmm. Are some favorite songs from this new album that you would like to play live?
I mean, it's quite... it's very probable and very, very... we'll probably play the album titled Humanoid. We'll probably play The Reckoning initially. We might play the ballad at some point when we do headline shows. But there's also South Side of Hell, which is probably a lot of fun. There's a bunch of contenders, probably 6 songs easy that we could definitely put in the set list right now. But like I said, we usually try this out and see how it works and then pick the ones that work the best also with the old material. So
I have a question from a huge fan of you.
Yeah. Nice.
And he asked me this following. So decades after decades, we see bands from your generation who decide to stop their job for several reasons.
Yeah.
How do you feel to be at the top of the metal world with other legends like Halloween, Saxon, the almighty Judas Priest? Is it a great achievement for you?
I don't know that I would even say we're on top of the world. I mean, that's a big statement. But I'm definitely very proud to be still part of that whole genre and the family. It's to me, it's almost like a metal community or an inner circle of bands that are still out there doing it all these years, from all these years ago. And I'm super honored to be part of that. No matter how big or small you see our role in all this, it doesn't almost matter. Because at the end of the day, we're all trying to do the same thing, you know. And it's I've often heard that story that no matter the size of the band or the achievements, every band is kind of the same in the inner workings. It's just more or less more zeros at the end of it. You know, they all have their inner fights and they all have their disagreement or their struggles or their egos and all this kind of stuff. It's the same in every band. There's usually one or two driving members that are like the motors of the band. It's the same in every band, I think, just with more zeros at the end.
I would like to talk about the album cover.
Yeah.
Very modern.
Modern?
Modern.
Yeah.
Who did it?
Who did it? Oh, this designer, amazing designer. His name is Gyula, but spelled with a G. Gyula. I think it's pronounced Gyula, but I'm not sure. He's from Hungary, and we've worked with him in the past. He did our previous album cover, Too Mean to Die, and he's done some stage sets for us. Did he do the one before then? I think he's done even The Rise of Chaos, but I'm not 100% sure now. But anyhow, he's worked with us in the past. He's just fantastic. And he came up with a reference to Metal Heart, you know, put the Metal Heart in the robot and on the frame out there. So that's kind of his idea. Yeah, he's a good artist, really good artist. And it's not AI, it's actual person who did it. For now. I'm going to tell you, you're going to release a video soon, and that's going to be created by AI just because we were very fascinated, and it really works well for that story, but, you know, so we'll see.
How did you start the guitar?
Oh, very simple. I just had a friend who had a guitar, and it fascinated me. I basically bothered my parents until they bought me a guitar. And it was an acoustic guitar at first. I was maybe 13 years old or so. 12, 13, 14. I can't remember for sure. So I learned acoustic guitar for like 6 months or a year. And then I got my first electric guitar. It was very basic stuff back in those days. But I was hooked for life.
And the first band that influenced you?
The first influenced me. Probably Deep Purple. I mean, that live album, Live in Japan, was, oh my God, that was amazing to us. And back then, as teenagers, the idea of us maybe be able to go to other countries or maybe even Japan one day was just like traveling to the moon. It was very, very far away, but a big dream that later on became a reality. Yeah, I could have never thought it back then, but here we are.
You are still producing an authentic sound.
And what?
Authentic.
Authentic, yeah.
Like in the golden ages.
No, thank you.
And are you sensitive to the new way of sounding from the new metal bands or post-metal bands? I'm thinking, for instance, of super powerful sound design or sharp breakdown, strong pound unit, but really this modern way to sounding, like in the metalcore, for instance.
Yeah.
So, are you sensitive of this approach?
No. I would say we pretty much know what we want to sound like, and I don't really look everywhere else for inspiration, to be honest. I don't listen to much other modern metal bands or even current. I don't ever listen to much outside music at all. I really don't. I don't have any good explanation why. It's just the way I am. I like a little piece of quiet, and I don't listen to that much music. I also think I don't think I could handle it very well. I know some people who are constantly have earbuds in their head, and they're on the plane, wherever they are, they always listen to music. That's not me. If I really want to listen to some stuff, some peaceful, I listen to classical music, but I don't listen to much metal. It's weird. Yeah, I know it's unusual, but I'm just being honest.
Is there any artist, metal or non-metal artist, while you are listening, drinking?
No. Not really. No, I don't. Sometimes I hear a song or I have a song on the internet or check out a new video, but it's very rare. Only if somebody shows me something. I never go look for, I wonder what they're doing. No, I don't. Yeah, and I'm almost a bit afraid of listening to too much stuff because I'm quite mindful of the fact that we have our own style, and you say it sounds like Accept immediately when I play. And a little bit in the back of my mind, I'm afraid to lose that when I listen to too much outside influences. And the other half of me is just lazy. I don't really care that much.
Easy question, time is running, but you are in pretty good shape. Great performer. Will you perform at the Olympic Games in Paris this summer? Overall,
What's the discipline? Headbanging or like
what is your recipe?
synchronized guitar movements, or what should be the discipline? I don't know.
What is your recipe? Because you are performing a lot, you are preparing yourself for a long world tour this 2024.
Yeah, it's going to be a long tour this year. I'm a little afraid. I just do basic things like common sense. I watch what I eat. I try to eat healthy stuff. I try to go to the gym when I can. But I'm not obsessing over it. I mean, I didn't go to the gym today or yesterday or the day before or tomorrow. I know I won't have time, so sometimes it's just not possible. But there's no big secret. I mean, there's a bit of vanity in there because I tell you what happens when you let yourself go a little bit and you start to get a little bit of a gut and you feel kind of, I feel it and I see it. When I see a picture of myself, I go like, ugh. It's time to get back in shape, I think it has to do with the fact that when you're out there on stage, people take pictures of you all the time, and you see the pictures later on, you think like, it's a reminder. It's a bit of vanity there.
Do you have a good souvenir to share with us regarding the shows you did in France already?
Yeah, I mean, of course, I remember the 80s. I remember the Zenith and Élysée Montmartre. But I also remember the Bataclan that we were supposed to play 3 days after the attack at the Bataclan. Man, that was tough when we went to see all the flowers in front of the venue, and then we came back last year or 2 years ago and played the same venue knowing that many people had died there. Fuck, that was mixed emotions to imagine what really happened there. But at the same time, you say to yourself, or I say to myself, we must not let the bad guys win. We have to continue our way of living, and we must continue to enjoy heavy metal just to prove the point that we don't give in. At least that's so. But it was mixed emotions. It's such a tragedy. But I mean, I've always enjoyed playing in France. We have some great loyal fans in France. Fans in France. That's hard to say.
Specific question.
Sure.
About the single.
Uh-huh.
When I listened to it, what came to my mind was, of course, the cyberpunk theme.
Cyberpunk? I don't even know what that is. What is cyberpunk?
Those movies like Terminator, Blade Runner, Matrix.
Okay.
I don't know if the soundtrack of those movies had inspired.
No, I've never even seen half of those movies, to be honest.
Okay.
No, that had really nothing to do with it. No, like I said, I was just thinking about man versus machine and the general topic of the idea of robots and people being replaced by machines. You know, like I said, we all used to the fact that robots do manual labor. You know, when they're built in car factories, it's full of robots, and we all know that, and it's okay because it takes away stupid jobs from people, and maybe we can use humans to use more intelligent work. But now that we are artificial intelligence and robots are trying to create art, it becomes a different story altogether. So that was basically the theme. I wasn't even thinking of those movies.
Okay, because it's really when I hear the lyrics, it's basically the story of those movies.
Yeah, maybe Mark was inspired by it because he wrote the final lyrics, but when I created the first rough sketch of the song, I wasn't even thinking of that. But good point, maybe. You know.
Well, rock and fashion goes together. So you guys are looking very good on the stage. Always leather and all stuff of rocker, leather and stuff. Studs,
Right.
I would say.
Yeah.
Do you have an outfit that you prepare for the stage, or you just go put your outfit and you go on stage? Do you talk together?
Well, of course you have stage outfits. Of course, you know, and you want it to look cool and you want it to be comfortable, because sometimes I tell you what, when you start using real leather, it becomes quite sticky, and because when you start sweating, we always sweat on stage because we move a lot, so it needs to be comfortable. You know, that's important.
Okay, and do you have a favorite piece of clothes that you always take with you?
Yeah, it changes all the time. I mean, right now, I have a couple of ladies made some stuff for me for the last tour. I don't know that I'm going to use the same stuff on this tour. We have to see, but it changes over time. It's not always the exact same stuff. But at the same time, we're not really going for the full-out designed band. I mean, we're not going to these clothing designers per se. You know, yes, there's people who make clothes that is well for stage and stuff. It's comfortable, but we don't really have a band designer or anything. Everybody does their own thing, and whatever they want to wear, they can wear. That's fine. There's no overall dress code or anything. Nah.
More horse on the wall outfits, no?
No. Well, you never know. Yeah, fun. Sometimes I see those old pictures and I think didn't stand the test of time very well. There's a few pictures I'd like to take back, you know, but of course you can't.
My final question, but I think it's a general question. What would you like for all of us?
Yeah.
What would you like to say to all the French audience who will watch this interview?
And there's people who have been following us for 40 years, which is amazing. Who could have thought back then?
Dankeschön.
Well, dankeschön. Merci beaucoup.
One small question.
Yeah.
You are a photographer?
Yes.
You have some projects?
No, I was a photographer. I'm really phased out out of my life. I mean, I can still take pictures and I still have a camera and all this kind of stuff, but I no longer do it for a living or for other people. I just basically do it for myself, and sometimes I shoot pictures of the band if it makes sense. But at the same time, we work with other photographers and we do all kinds of things. But I don't consider myself a professional photographer anymore, just because I'm back in music full time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Maybe the last question that came to my mind.
Yeah.
The interview. You said that you can write music, that you can write riff
Mm.
easily.
Yeah.
I wonder what's your biggest challenge as a musician.
In general, I think I consider, for songwriting, the hardest part is a lot of times trying to be objective, because you can fool yourself so easy. And I think the same can be said for anything that's creative, whether you are a writer, a painter, or whatever. Sometimes you work on something into the middle of the night and you think it's, oh my God, it's amazing. It's the best thing you've ever done. and then you go to bed and you listen back, and the next morning you come back and you think like, that's a pile of shit, and it happens all the time. That you can, so to be objective, I find the only solution is to sometimes put it away and check it in a week or 2 weeks or whenever, when you have a little distance to it. But while you're in the middle of creating something, it's so easy to be fooled and to think like it's amazing just because you heard it so many times. You think, oh my God, it's got to be a hit, it's going to be a killer, everybody will love it. But then you don't even love it yourself the next day or like a week later. It's just the nature of the beast. So you have to be, sometimes it's good to just let it rest and don't look at it for a while. Sleep on it, put it away. The worst you can do is just listen to it every day, because then you think it, just because by default, it's if you want a little objectivity, it's my advice is to just put it away and sleep on it a few days or a little while, and then judge it again with a little bit of distance, and then you probably know whether it's any good or not. That's the only thing I've learned over the years. And the other thing is honesty. You really have to be a little honest to yourself and say, is this really good, or am I just thinking it's good? And another thing you can do, when you think you got something that's half decent, play it to somebody else. And they don't even have to say much, but you feel it, or at least I do. When I have a song idea and I play it to somebody else, and they don't even have to say anything, but I feel it in the air, whether it's something that I'm really proud of and feel like, oh, it's fantastic, or where they go like, then the doubt comes in, then you feel it right away. So anyhow, it's my 2 words of wisdom. All right, guys.